Everybody wants real estate deals, but nobody knows where to find them. In this video, we're going to go over the 3 primary ways where you can find real estate deals to buy. My name is Brandon Avedikian, the founder of Aspire CRE. We are building a modern commercial real estate firm here in Houston, Texas. We are over 25 people now and growing fast. So let's jump right into it. The first way to find real estate deals is to simply start looking for them on the major online listing platforms where people list deals that are on the open market. Now, there are 3 online platforms that I would consider the 3 majors. The first is CoStar. This is by far the biggest, but the general public does not have access to CoStar. Only people that have a CoStar license have access, and CoStar licenses are very expensive. And so buildings listed on CoStar are really only seen by brokers or owners that pay for that CoStar license. The next is LoopNet. LoopNet is owned by CoStar, but the platform works completely differently than CoStar. LoopNet is available to the general public, so anyone could go on LoopNet and see listings without having to pay. But in order to get your listing on LoopNet, you have to pay per listing. LoopNet listings are very expensive. Although accessible to the general public, a lot of times not every deal that's listed on the market will be visible on LoopNet because the building for sale may not be willing to pay $100, $150 a month or more for one single listing. And the third is Crexi. Crexi is much newer than CoStar or LoopNet, but they're growing fast. And Crexi is basically the CoStar model and the LoopNet model wrapped into one. So there are brokers and owners that pay for Crexi because they want access to the data Crexi provides. But anyone can list on Crexi for free, and the listings are accessible by the general public, and you don't have to pay Crexi to view the listings. Now, there are a bunch of other smaller platforms that don't get nearly as much attention. There are also a good amount of auction platforms. And when I say auction platform, what I am talking about is websites that basically host an auction process. So instead of putting your property online and fielding inquiries and setting an offer date, an auction is where there's people make bids like an auction. It's really the same thing. You're marketing it publicly, but the buyers go through a different process to win the deals with an auction than they do with a traditional for sale listing. So enough about the platforms themselves. Let's talk about the pros and cons of searching for deals that are listed on the open market. And I'll start by dispelling the myth that you have to find off-market deals to find good deals. Every single day, there are properties listed on the open market on CoStar, Crexi, LoopNet, wherever, auction platforms that are good deals. You just have to learn how to find them. And most of the deals listed on those platforms are not good deals. And so you've got to learn your craft, understand your product, know your market, know what you're looking for, and know when you find what you're looking for, how you're going to add value to find good deals. But if you discount every deal that's listed on the market, it's going to be very hard to find deals. And just by the sheer number, there are so many more deals that are marketed on one of these platforms than there are off-market deals. And properties that are listed on these platforms, there's a higher likelihood the seller is actually motivated. If you're looking for off-market deals and talking to owners that don't have their property listed, 9 out of 10 times or more, they're not really serious about selling, and their price probably isn't going to make sense. And as far as downsides go, there really are no downsides to looking for deals on the open market other than the obvious that there's a lot of deals on the open market that just don't make sense. But if you want to have consistent deal flow, you've got to look at deals on the open market. And with experience, you will learn how to filter deals that are not going to make sense out very quickly so that you don't end up wasting a bunch of time on deals that make no sense. The second way to find real estate deals is to look for off-market deals. And an off-market deal simply means the seller is considering selling, but the property is not listed on the open market. And so how do you find off-market deals? Well, you have to talk to owners of properties that aren't listed and see if they're interested in selling. So let's talk about how you can do this. First, you have to find out who the owner of the property is. And the way you do that is you go to the county the property is located in. You go to the county's appraisal district website. You look up the property and it tells you the owner name, which is usually going to be an LLC or a partnership. Then you have to look up that partnership and try to figure out who the decision makers are in that partnership. Then you have to find the owner's phone number and email address, and then you call and email them and try to start a conversation. So as you can imagine, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to find off-market deals. You've got to do all this research, make all these phone calls, and the vast majority of people that you talk to are not going to be interested in selling, or they're going to say they are interested in selling, but their price is completely unrealistic with what the property is actually worth. There are tools these days that automate the process of finding the owner, figuring out their contact information, but no matter which tools you use, it's still a lot of work, and nobody's just going to get a phone call and sell you their property at a great price. You've got to talk to them, build a relationship with them, build trust, negotiate a deal, and it's normally a long process. You hear stories about finding distressed sellers and buying it for pennies on the dollar, and it happens quick and you make all this money. That does happen, but that happens after tons and tons and tons of volume, making calls, sending emails, following up, and learning how to identify people that are really looking to sell. And like I said, being willing to put in the volume it takes to find. The reality is it's a very small percent of sellers are interested in selling off market at a discounted price. And those small percent that are willing to sell at a discount and not listed on the market, they're either something happened that they need to move very quickly, they're distressed, they don't want to list the property on the market, or they're just uneducated. And frankly, a lot of times when off-market deals are purchased, you've got somebody sophisticated finding and talking to someone that is very unsophisticated, and then they're able to use that mismatch in expertise to negotiate very favorable terms for the buyer. Now let's talk about the third and final way to find a real estate deal, to find an incredible, life-changing opportunity. And that is through outsourcing your efforts to find a deal through a broker. And so I'm calling it a third way, but the reality is there's only two types of deals, on market and off market. And so this third way is finding one of those two through a broker. Using brokers to find deals is the most efficient way to do it, because brokers are doing all the time-intensive and labor-intensive things to find on and off market deals. And so if you don't want to be on the phone all day calling sellers looking for off market deals, or you don't want to be clicking around listing platforms all day looking for deals, brokers will do all the legwork for you. Now, if you're going to go this route, you need to find a broker that is an expert in the type of property that you're looking to buy. You need to make sure that broker understands what you're looking for. If you're looking for industrial buildings or retail buildings, that's not enough. The broker needs to understand what type of industrial building, what type of retail building, what is your purchase price size range, what are your targeted returns, what is the minimum deal size you'd buy, what is the maximum deal size you'd buy. And if you have a broker that understands that criteria very well and consistently puts deals in front of you, it is a very efficient way for you to see deals and underwrite deals at scale. And as an investor, you can talk to multiple brokers about the deals that they're working on and build relationships with them, and just build this constant inflow of deals coming from brokers that you know. And so if you don't want to employ a team of people that work for you that are looking for deals all day, or you don't want to be on the phone, on the computer all day looking for deals yourself, and you want a steady inflow of opportunities that meet your criteria coming to you, then working through brokers is a great option. So there's only two ways to find deals. Look for deals that are listed on the open market, or find off-market deals, and you can do those yourself, or you can use a broker to do them for you. There are always good deals out there in any market, anytime. Anyone saying that there's no good deals simply isn't running the right process, but good deals are hard to find. And so if you want to be a successful real estate investor, you need to start underwriting deals. You need to figure out how you're going to get deals that meet your criteria in front of you consistently and efficiently, and you need to learn how to underwrite them quickly so you're not wasting time on deals that were never going to make sense. Let me know in the comments how you have found success sourcing deals, and thank you for joining us. We will see you on the next one.